Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Unwanted Son of Gremory Clan movie. Before we start, please go support Alessandro Gonzalez 54 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Issei Hyoudo is a somewhat ordinary boy because he was born with certain abilities that are a little out of the ordinary. He lives alone with his mother, and there will be several events that will make him discover who his father really is. Prologue. Please go out with me, was the cry of a girl with black hair and violet eyes. While in front of her there was a boy with blue hair and red eyes. He was wearing a green jacket. While on the side of his hair he had a kind of ponytail as well as white pants. The guy didn't even expect that this girl he just met would ask him out. Was what the boy said while looking at the girl. Please go out with me? She said as she leaned down, leaving the boy even more confused. Is this girl on drugs, or who in their right mind would accept a date with someone they don't even know, thought the boy as he looked at the girl monotonously. Okay, first of all, I don't know who you are and I'm not interested in going out with anyone right now, replied the boy. This took the black-haired girl by surprise as she raised her gaze and saw how the boy turned around and began to walk away from her, leaving her with a lump in her throat, before turning around and walking away. While a white-haired girl comes out of a bush. Kaicho, the fallen angels are making their move, said the albino girl, while in her hatred she had a kind of circle. Okay Momo, you can come back now. I have to tell Rias about this, said a voice from the other side of the communicator. The girl named Momo just looked once more at the place where the boy went and then left from there. With the boy he had arrived at his home where he is entered. I'm here, announced the boy as he walked towards the dining room, where there was a beautiful woman with blue hair sleeping on the couch. The boy looks at her for a few seconds and then takes some blankets, and then covers her to go to the kitchen where he takes a soda and begins to drink it. Then the boy returns to the dining room where he is, sits down, and begins to drink the can while looking at the woman. Partner, a deep voice had sounded in the boy's mind. What happened now, Shapiro? The boy answered. You felt the aura that girl emanated, right? Shapiro had told the boy. I felt like a fallen angel, right? The boy answered. That's right. I see they've already realized you have me and they'll most likely be making their move, Shapiro warned him. The boy, for his part, just thought for a few minutes and then looked at the ceiling. Sigh. And I wanted to keep it a little more covered, the boy said. You know just like I do that you won't have an easy life being the son of that Issei guy, Shapiro said to the boy called Issei. Well Shapiro, but what are you going to do, said Issei as he stood up and went to his room. The next day, Issei could be seen walking calmly through the streets of Kuoh City as he headed towards Kuoh City. In this one he meets the same girl. This girl doesn't know how to give up, right? The boy thought, a little irritated as he passed by the girl. Wait! She shouted while standing next to Issei. What do you want now? Issei told her while looking away at the black-haired girl. I just want to accompany you. Besides, I wanted to meet you, she said while Issei simply looked at her. By the way, my name is Yuma, beloved, she said. Did I ask him who he was? Issei thought. Yuma, my name is pretty, but he couldn't finish speaking because the girl had interrupted him. If you want, you are Hyoudo, Issei, she said. Okay, is this chick a damn stalker or what? Issei said to himself again. Or maybe she's just a pervert who wants you to lock her in bed, Safiro mentally said to Issei. But just when Issei was about to speak, a voice familiar to Issei had sounded in the place where Issei looks ahead, and there he sees a beautiful girl with brown hair with 2 pigtails and hazel eyes. And your salvation has arrived, Shapiro said mentally to Issei, who couldn't help but agree more. Oh hi Ria-chan, how have you been? Issei said as he approaches the chestnut, and to the surprise of both girls, Issei had stolen a kiss from the brunette, and then put his tongue in the brunette's mouth, who quickly let herself be carried away by Issei's kiss. Yuma looked at this and was stunned and was starting to get annoyed with Issei. At that, they both separated, leaving a trail of saliva while the brunette had a huge blush on her face. Now Yuma, can you stop bothering me with having a date? Besides, I have a girlfriend. So you can go, said Issei. While he put his arms around the neck of the brunette, he blushes at her. Yuma, for his part, had become even more angry when suddenly the entire sky had turned purple. Damn human! Yuma shouted, annoyed, while a glow covered her body, letting her see now with a more provocative outfit, while the brunette had come out of her stupor to then look at Issei, who had a bored look surprising the chestnut. Finally you show your true appearance, huh? said Issei as he separated from Reia's hug as he began to walk towards Yuma. So I knew you weren't human, Huh, you are definitely someone interesting. You know, if you accepted the date before I killed you, I would have liked to have fun with you one night, she told him. While Issei doesn't get excited. Oh, I see, it's a shame. Well, now let's go to the next one, Issei said while his arm had seemed like a katana, surprising both women. Oh, so it's true that you have a sacred gears. It's a shame that it's nothing more than a simple trinket, Yuma said mockingly. What did that trinket tell me, Issei? Kill it now! Sephiroth shouted, annoyed. In that, Yuma creates a spear of light to then point at both of them. On one hand, Rhea and is going to do something, but see the calm face of Issei, this will be more relaxed. Now die already! Shouted Yuma, while he launched the attack towards Issei, who simply saw it coming, and then received the attack fully. Boom! An explosion had occurred in place. Ha ha ha! What a pathetic human! Yuma laughed like crazy while looking at the place where Issei was. Rhea, for her part, opened her eyes wide. It's a shame. Issei's voice had frozen both girls in that smoke screen. She saw how Issei was unharmed, but what terrified Yuma the most was seeing how Issei's left eye was shining while he was approaching her. Yuma just backs away in fear while Issei just rushes towards her. It can't be, Yuma said in anguish. Damn human. Now die, she said as she created a spear of light and launched herself towards Issei, who simply waited for her wherever he was. With a quick movement, he blocked the attack with the lower part of his katana, and then with a quick movement he hit Yuma with the sheath of his katana in the face, and from that Issei unsheathed his katana wherever it is and stabbed it into his abdomen wherever it is, making a cut, leaving the fallen one seriously injured. That's a shame, Issei said while looking at the wounded Yuma, who was bleeding out. Now die already, Issei said, but before making the final blow he dodges a spear of light that creates an explosion, while a large curtain of smoke covered the place, leaving only Issei and Rhea. Issei for his part keeps the katana and then looks at the chestnut, who was looking at Issei seriously. Sigh, well, aren't you going to ask or something? Issei said to Rhea. I sincerely believe that it is not necessary. No. Now tell me how you know about the supernatural, she said seriously while Issei only thought about giving a specific answer. It was a few years ago, Issei told her. Listen to Rhea-chan. If you want to receive an answer, let it be after the academy, Issei told her. While Rhea was doing this, then both of them went to the Kuoh Academy. Several hours later, Issei was about to leave his classroom since classes had finished, but then a girl with large attributes had appeared. She had glasses, hazel eyes, and long black hair. She looked at the brown-haired man in a serious, and at the same time cold manner, making him sweat with fear. I think your dear girlfriend is angry with you, Sephiroth told Issei mentally. How many times should I repeat it? She is not my girlfriend, Issei said mentally. Hello, Tsubaki, but before Issei could say anything, the black-haired girl stepped forward. To the student council now, Hyoudo-kun, she said coldly to the brown-haired boy, making him have a huge shiver all over his back. But we're not even boyfriend and girlfriend, and Hasai still gets angry, Issei thought. So they both walked towards the student council while Tsubaki didn't even say a word to Issei. In that, both arrive at the student council, where then Tsubaki plays where a pass is heard from the other side, and then Issei enters and sees a beautiful red-haired girl next to a black-haired girl. Just like at the desk was a beautiful girl with short black hair and had violet eyes. Issei for his part just walks towards the inside of the council to then see all the members of the student rabbit and another group of boys. Hello, Hyoudo-kun. Please sit down, the black-haired girl said to Issei while he listened to her and sat down. I think you already know the reason why we call you, right? She said to him, while Issei just nodded. Yes, it will be because I have a sacred gears, and I am half human demon, Issei said casually, surprising everyone in the place except Tsubaki and Sona, and the redhead, who last hardened her merida towards Issei, who noticed her, but still Hasai didn't say anything. Well, this will be very easy to explain, said Sona. The reason we want to talk to you is about who your father is, Hyoudo-kun, she told him seriously. You know that is something that doesn't matter to me in the least, Sona-san, Issei said seriously. Sona, for her part, remained silent. Well, you see, Hyoudo-kun, the redhead is speaking. The reason for who your father is called Zen-Aku Gremory, she said. And what do I give him a prize or what? Issei said while he still didn't understand the situation clearly. Sigh, Zen-Aku Gremory is your father as well as mine. That makes us half-brothers, Hyoudo-kun, the redhead said seriously, surprising everyone in the room except those who already knew. Issei for his part was in shock and then looked at the redhead, and looked at the black-haired girl who nods and then looked back at the redhead. Ah? Issei said, and then this, do I have a half-sister? Issei shouted. Now Issei Hyoudo's life has taken a very unexpected turn. Cap 1. Another day at the Kuoh Academy where we can see Issei walking towards the academy with a bored face. Then he meets a certain redhead. Hello Hyoudo-kun, said the redhead while Issei passed by her without taking it seriously. The redhead just sighs and approaches Issei and then both walk along the academy, although Issei does not take any importance. Hyoudo-kun, I speak again laughingly. What? Issei replied while looking at the redhead for the first time. I think we have to talk a little, don't you think? After all, we are half-brothers, she said. While Issei just sighed. Listen to something, laugh. Even though we are half-brothers, it doesn't mean we have to get along, do you understand? Besides, I don't care what you say, I won't be part of your entourage like Khaos, said Issei calmly. Then both arrive at the academy where Issei separates from her and goes like that hall. Don't you think you were a little harsh on her? Shapiro spoke in the blue-haired man's mind. Nah, I just told the truth. I'm not too worried about that. Of the demons, besides, I don't want to be anyone's slave, Issei spoke without any importance on the subject. At the entrance of the academy there were two people with white nikes talking to a certain black-haired girl with glasses. Time skip. Classes had already ended. Issei was walking through the streets of Kuoh City while a bored look adorned his face. Then his cell phone began to ring. When Issei took it, he was surprised by the message he received, where he puts his cell phone back and begins to walk in a specific direction. Already in the square of Kuoh, Issei he was walking with his hands in his pockets where he sees a figure sitting on a bench where Issei sighs and sits next to the subject. And well, tell me, what do you want now? Issei spoke seriously while looking ahead. This is how you greet an old friend, he said in a hurt manner, although I see that you saw a small problem with some of my subordinates, the man spoke. Sigh. You have no idea, Azazel. Tell me, that girl called Yuma is not your daughter, right? Issei spoke while the now known as Azazel simply did. Even if I arrived just in time before you kill her, said Azazel with some amusement. I think you have to keep a closer eye on your people, Azazel. Issei spoke in a serious tone. What the hell happened to that boy who didn't care about anything? Azazel said in a funny tone. Sighed. I think that having gotten together with Penemu changed me just like Tiamat. Issei spoke in a calm tone while he took out a cigarette and lit it. I thought you had left it, Azazel spoke while Issei did not take it seriously. I never left it. Also calm me down and tell me, Azazel, what do you want now? Asked Issei at that a magic circle appeared where Rainer appears with a maid outfit. Really, Issei spoke. If you take it as compensation for having given you any problems, although I don't think it was like that, right? He said amusedly, while Rainer was blushing from embarrassment. While Issei simply stands up and starts walking towards his home. And are you coming or not? Issei spoke while looking at Rainer, who quickly went after Issei while Azazel just looked at the sky. Holy heavens, this boy will give me a lot of problems, said Azazel while he stood up and left the place in a magic circle. Residency Hyoudo. Issei and Rainer were already at the blue-haired man's house where they both entered. Mom, I'm here! Issei shouted, but no one had answered. Sighing, well, it seems she's not here, said Issei as he entered next to Rainer wherever she is sitting on the couch while Rainer was standing next to him. Hey, you can talk, you know. I don't care what you were doing, but you're not in danger anymore unless you hurt my mother. Issei spoke in a serious tone. Well, Issei-sama, she spoke with respect. And one more thing, don't call me Sama. It makes me feel old. Rainer. Issei spoke calmly while Rainer nodded. Okay, she spoke more relaxed. Issei-kun, can I ask you a question? She asked while Issei nods. Those days when you stabbed me, you never hit a point where it would harm my life. Why did you do it? She asked. Issei for his part just looked at the TV for a few minutes. Sighing, who knows, maybe I've become softer, I answered while still watching TV. For her part, Rainer simply did what she wanted and then both of them started watching TV. Time skip. After an hour where both were just watching movies. I'm here! Shouted a female voice where Issei quickly looks back and sees a beautiful woman with dark violet hair and eyes of the same color. Hello, Mom, Issei greeted without getting upset. Issei's mother passed her Miranda to the brunette, who was completely nervous because of the look Issei's mother was giving her. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Yuma Amato and I'm Issei's friend. She spoke with clear nervousness. Issei, I want you to explain all this to me now, ordered Issei's mother, who just sighed heavily. Outside the residence, you could see a beautiful girl with long black hair wearing a very tight orange dress. She was completely nervous while she was behind the door of Issei's house. Come on, Tsubaki, you can do it, she thought nervously while a blush burned her face, and then she snorted and rang the bell, where on the other side she heard "and I'm going," where the one who opened the door was Issei's mother, who, seeing Tsubaki from head to toe, only sighs. "And you are another of my son's friends," she spoke. "Yes, I'm Tsubaki Shinra. I'm from the same school as Hyoudo and he's at home." She tried to sound less nervous without getting upset. Issei's mother was giving her a unique death glare. "Okay, wait a few minutes," she said, bucking. "Asshole, you have visitors!" shouted Issei's mother. While Issei goes to the door, and it was nice to see Tsubaki. Tsubaki-san, what are you doing here?" Issei asked while his mother took Issei by the shoulder, and then whispered something to the hater. "If I find out that you had a threesome in this house, I swear I'll castrate you as soon as you got off, son," she spoke in a stern tone. While Issei paled a little. After that, the mother left. "Because I feel that soon I'm going to have to change carriers," said Saphiro, while Issei just rolled his eyes. "Tsubaki-san, what are you doing here?" Issei asked again, and then looked from head to toe at the vice president of the student council. "Does she have a date with someone for you to be dressed like that? By the way, you look beautiful," Issei spoke while sketching a smile. For her part, Tsubaki blushed a little, then regained her composure and looked at Issei. "I only came if you wanted to eat somewhere," she asked Issei, who he already wants to go for a second time. "That's really having balls in the air. I'm speaking Saphiro." Issei for his part brought his hands to his chin, but just at that moment Rainer appeared, where both girls looked at each other. "Oh shit," thought Issei. "Hyoudo-kun, can you explain this to me?" Tsubaki said while Issei just swallowed dryly. "You are already dead, my friend," spoke with mockery Saphiro. "Why, Ami? Does the world hate me?" Issei thought while crying comically. Gregory. Azazel could be seen sitting in his office, while at that same moment a magic circle appears where a red-haired man who appeared to be about 20 years old appears, while next to him a silver-haired woman had also appeared. "You finally arrived, Surzex, and hello, Graphia," Azazel greeted, while the now known as Surzex returned the gesture. "And well, Azazel, I am now aware of everything about my younger half-brother," Surzex spoke, while Azazel only opens his eyes a little in surprise. "Rias told me everything, that he was attacked by one of yours in my sister's territory. Do you have any explanation?" He spoke seriously. For his part, Azazel is going to answer, but the door will open and a beautiful woman with violet hair will appear. The woman saw the demons for a few seconds and then saw Azazel, who was trembling with fear. "And now, you stupid girl, did you do?" Azazel, the woman spoke in a threatening tone. Nothing, Penemu-sama, I swear," Azazel responded with fear, while Penemu simply greeted the demons, and then stood behind Azazel. Sighing, "Well, back to the main topic, Azazel, you know something," said Surzex. How can I tell you? Those angels acted behind my back. But don't worry about your little brother. After all, I sent someone to watch him," I spoke carefree. While Penemu was a little surprised and then put his hand on Azazel's shoulder. Sighing, "I see. I'm glad," he spoke with a little happiness, "but there's a small problem, Azazel, and that is that the elders of the demonic council found out about the existence of Issei-kun, and that's why they want him to be part of the demons. Imagine how he uses the power of destruction better than me," and that laughter. "And not to mention that Longinus is incredibly dangerous," he spoke in a serious tone. "If that happens, they will give you the order that Issei has to return to hell, right? Where they will compromise him against a high class to give him strong descendants. Or am I wrong?" said you, Penemu. While Surzex nodded. "That's right, Issei. It may be that he is not my blood brother, but we both have the same father, even if you don't like it. That's how things are," he spoke with a little resentment towards his father. "It seems that your dear brother's life will undoubtedly take an unexpected turn," Azazel spoke. Cap 2. In Issei's room we can see Tsubaki Shinra, the vice president of the student council, along with Rainer, the latter two exchanging glances. "Tsubaki, I see. So that's what's happening," she said. For his part, Issei nods while Rainer simply snorts, a little annoyed by the presence of the demon wing. "Tsubaki, tell me, does anyone else know about this?" she asked. "Issei, for now, you are the only one who knows." "Tsubaki-san," I replied, "honestly, what do you think is happening, Tsubaki?" Issei asked in a serious tone. For her part, the brunette only thought for a few minutes and then sighed. Tsubaki sighed. "I don't know, Hyoudo-kun, I'm also thinking about that. Until now we knew that the angels were in our territory, but we decided not to interfere because Rias-sama wanted the perverted boy as part of her nobility," she answered while adjusting her glasses. "Issei, do all demons reincarnate into a human without their consent?" I asked. When Tsubaki and Rainer responded, they had gone ahead. Rainer, Humph, because it doesn't surprise me that demons are Heir. She spoke with poison towards Queen Citri. For her part, Tsubaki didn't know how the blue-haired man was going to take it, but Heir still decided to tell her everything that Rias was planning. Academia Kuoh. Another day had begun at the Kuoh Academy, where in the second classroom a new student from abroad had been introduced who called herself Asia Argento. Everyone was excited, but when she said she was living with the biggest pervert in the academy, everyone started to advance against the brunette in search of an answer. For his part, Issei did not take the slightest interest where the bell rang where Issei left the classroom wherever he was. He began to walk outside wherever he was. He went down a tree wherever he was and lay down there. Who would say that your sister would be so desperate to let that pervert who has dragged die? Shapiro spoke in the blue-haired man's mind. Issei, and you say it, tisk, this is annoying now. Not only do they know of my existence, but they will also start looking for me. Issei thought with annoyance. Those damn old men will only be looking for you where they are going to commit you to someone, Saphiro said. For his part, Issei just bit his lower lip. It's weird that you're upset, Issei-kun, a female voice said behind Issei. Issei turned around and saw a girl with brown hair and pigtails and hazel eyes. Issei. Hello, Rhea, what are you doing here? I asked. Rhea, I saw that something worries you and it's definitely about the old people, right? Tsubaki told you, she asked while looking at the blue-haired man. Issei, sigh. I see I can't hide anything, right? He replied, honestly, what do you want me to say? Rhea had, so to speak, a decent life. I just care more about my mother than anything else, he said seriously. Rhea, it's strange for you to see yourself so serious, and tell me something, she said while sitting next to the blue-haired man. Issei, yes, you want me to tell you, I reply. Rhea, when you invite me on a date, I say you know that demons do polygamy, and since Tsubaki will surely be the first, I want to be the second, she said shamelessly. For his part, Issei did not know how to answer this question. Perhaps he confessed to her, and so they do not even know each other. How slower speedster, Saphiro commented in the blue-haired man's mind. Issei-a? Rhea Ito, let's see how I say this, Issei said somewhat nervously. While he was scratching his neck, hell, what do I say if I rejected her? She would most likely hate me, and if I accepted her, Tsubaki would most likely end up castrating me, or even worse, kill me and revive me, he thought. Rhea, and what do you say? She commented. Issei Kadabis was getting more nervous. Ring, saved by the bell. Issei, sorry, I have to go to the living room, then I'll answer you, Issei said nervously while running away from there, leaving Rhea alone, who gave a slight smile to stand up and leave from there with a smile on her face. Time skip. After class, Issei was walking towards the exit where he was. He felt a barrier in the Alcudamos club where he was. He quickly went there to see what was happening. Wherever she is, she simply climbs a tree where she looks in the club window and realizes that there is a blonde who looked at Rias directly into the eyes of the redhead, while both released their powers. Inside the club, the whole place felt tense because they were both looking straight into each other's eyes. Rias, I already told you, Razor, I'm not going to marry you, she said seriously to the blonde. Razor, seriously, are you still so stubborn that you don't understand that this is important for the demons? He replied. Or do you want to tarnish your family's name? He said. Rias, you're wrong, Razor, I'm going to welcome all of my family with open arms, she replied. While Razor laughed. But even so, I won't marry you, she said seriously. Razor, in Khaos I will have to kill your servants and take you straight to hell by force, he said arrogantly. Yar, how stupid is all this? A male voice said. At that, everyone looks where the voice came from, and there they saw Issei, who was sitting at the window, while he looked at everyone with boredom. Razor, and who are you? I asked. But Issei didn't respond as he started walking towards Rias while he completely ignored the blonde. Issei, so this is the guy they bought you, he's a total idiot, Issei speaking. Rias, for her part, like the rest of her nobility, couldn't help but laugh. On the part of the blonde, he was only annoyed. Razor, Rias, control your servants if you don't want something bad to happen to them, this one said. When you were going to answer, Issei had gone ahead. Issei, puff, what a good joke, I would never be her servant, Issei replied while looking directly into Issei's eyes. When they both crossed glances, Razor inquisitively stepped back because he saw how the brown-haired man's eyes had become slanted. Razor, and who do you think you are, a low-class demon? He said while snapping his fingers. Suddenly a magic circle appeared where a large group of girls appeared where the blonde spoke. But when that group of girls appeared, 4 of them were known to Issei as well as them who were surprised to see him. Razor, look, take care of that demon. Razor ordered a blue-haired girl who had a cane in her hands. The girl had launched herself towards Issei where she is with her staff and had launched a powerful blow towards the blue-haired man who saw everything in slow motion, and then the whole place was stained with blood where everyone was shocked to see this, and then see how Mira falls to the ground and begins to bleed while Issei stands up and is intact. Issei sighed, damn, I think I went a little too far, hee. He laughed nervously. At that the blue-haired man looked where the blonde was who looked at Issei in an annoyed way, but Issei began to walk. Issei, oh hello Revel-chan, Shuela-chan, Yubeluna-chan and Cirrus-chan, the brown-haired boy greeted while passing by the blonde. Everyone in the room had fallen into a deep silence. Perhaps they heard correctly. Cap 3. You know she'll kill you later, Shapiro said. On Issei's part, he began to tremble a little and then calmed down. Issei, don't remind me if I barely managed to get out alive when I helped Suzaku and I managed to escape from her. Believe me when I tell you that I am very, very afraid that she will scratch me, Issei replied while he was trembling slightly. I think if she doesn't kill you, Tsubaki or Tiamat will. Tell me which of the 2 would be the most dangerous, Shapiro said. For Issei's part, he didn't know how to answer that question, although he knew that she could kill him with 1,000 spells and even worse was Tiamat. He certainly knew well that that dragon was a bucking problem, but how did this happen? We have to go back to what day the Razor had appeared. Flashback. Occult Club. Issei. Hello Revel-chan, Yubeluna-chan, Cirrus-chan and Shiolan-chan, the boy greeted as he passed by the blonde, surprising everyone. Revel, Issei-sama. Revel Hablo. Revel was a girl with blonde hair and wore an elegant suit and light blue eyes. Cirrus. How long Issei-kun? She said while having a tender blush on her face. Cirrus is a girl with long dark blue hair. She was wearing a combat suit and had a huge sword on her back and hazel eyes. Yubeluna. How long Issei-kun? I speak Yubeluna. Yubeluna had purple hair and large attributes. Her eyes were purple. Shuelan. How long Hyoudo-kun? Spoke Shuelan with a slight smile to see Issei. Shuelan is a short black chabalo girl who wore 2 white pigtails and a combat-style dress. Razor, Revel, do you know this human? The blonde asked. Revel, that's right, Oni-sama. I met Issei-sama 2 years ago when he helped me with something. Ami and the girls, she answered. Issei, you saw Hex, that's what she means. Issei spoke, downplaying it. The entire room had remained silent, where the aforementioned had only blushed and then looked away. Razor, what did you do to my sister? The blonde shouted angrily. You dared to corrupt my sister, damn human, now you're going to die, he said while his power was released. Enough, behave, Razor-sama, you already said it, feminine. How boring, I want to see a fight, Shapiro spoke mentally. In that shadows a beautiful woman with silver hair wearing a maid outfit had come out of the shadows where Issei looked at her for a few seconds where Issei felt like she was pressing her power to the maximum. Issei, wow, she looks strong, if I remember correctly. Is she Graphia Lucifuge, the sister of that Sis-Khan? Issei thought. And you're not wrong, she's the sister of that idiot. I still remember when he tried to recruit you, Shapiro said with grace. Issei. I don't remember it, Issei replied. Rias, Griafia, what are you doing here? The redhead asked. Griafia, Cirrus-sama sent me to see that this doesn't get out of hand and you shouldn't get into trouble with the human demon, she said looking at Issei. Issei. You know you have to stop being so ecstatic, you'll get wrinkles if you keep doing that, Issei replied without taking it seriously. Everything in the room had gone silent, while Graphia was releasing a good amount of power, scaring everyone except Issei, who began to respond in the same way, surprising everyone in the room, as did Graphia. Everybody was suffocating more and more with the pressure of both of them who were releasing where the maid, seeing how some were already on the verge of dying, stops releasing her aura just like Issei. While everyone was recovering, Rias was a little surprised by the overwhelming power that Issei had. Issei, you see that, dear sister, Issei said to Rias. That is the difference between you and me. I have a very strange sacred that allows me to use the powers of other beings as well as steal their techniques and make them mine, but these are improved. And you have a pretty good power of destruction, but instead of training it you simply got carried away by being good at magic and being someone very spoiled, and not only that, since I see that your pieces have a good level," said Issei, looking at Rias's pieces. "But I see that they have many problems with their existence, and Nico, a survivor of the sacred swords, and finally the daughter of Betrayal," Issei said, making everyone in the room open their eyes. Kiba, annoyed this, created a sacred sword and had launched it against Issei. "Kiba, what do you know about us?" Annoyed shout. Issei, "Sigh, how boring," said Issei. At that moment, when Kiba was about to hit Issei, he held the sword with the tips of his fingers. Issei, "ASME the pretty one, please fly away, do you want?" Issei said while applying force on the sword. "Where it breaks," surprising the blonde. But before he could react, he received a powerful blow to the abdomen, and flew out wherever he was and crashed into the school wall. "Grafia, enough!" She raised her voice while she was releasing a huge amount of raw power. Everyone had fallen to the ground except for Issei, who was on his knees. Then little by little the place became less crowded where everyone had stood up. "Grafia, I kindly ask you to leave the place," Grafia said to Issei, who stands up and shakes his clothes. Issei, "Well, it was fun while it lasted, so ba-o Revel-chan, Cirrus-chan, Yubaluna-chan, and Xiaolun-chan. If you want repeat what I said again, just call me or come to Hu and Kuoh," Issei said while disappearing in a magic circle, leaving the aforementioned blushing Finn flashback. Underworld. You could see Issei floating, watching as a ceremony was being set up where a razor came out of a magic circle, and then in a few minutes Rias came out. But she was wearing a wedding dress. Issei, "Sigh, by Big Red, I hope they don't find out," said Issei with some fear. "Okay Shapiro, let's go," said Issei. "You know," I replied. In the castle, while everyone in the room seemed to be celebrating the announcement of Rias Gremory's marriage with Razor Phoenix, an explosion was heard at the door, from which several guards flew out. "Damn, what a lousy security service." "Ah, don't buck with me. I just got my shoes stained with blood, and that's even though they were new," a male voice shouted from within the dust. In that dust a boy with dark blue hair comes out. He was wearing a green jacket, white pants and black sneakers. Everyone who saw Issei was surprised except for a brunette with glasses along with a small group of girls. "Razor, what are you doing here?" Razor said angrily. Issei, "Ah, that's simple. I want to have a fight with you to free the redhead who is there," pointing at Rias. "Also, I want to have 4 members in my entourage," said Issei. All the people in the place began to murmur to each other while in the distance a beautiful woman with brown hair and violet eyes was looking at Issei from head to toe, whereas searing the lips, causing a chill down Issei's spine. "My spider senses say there's a rapist in progress here, so Issei, be careful," Shapiro said in the blue-haired man's mind. Issei, "And well, Razor accepts the battle, or are you afraid of a simple human?" Issei said in a provocative tone. "Razor, TSK, who do you think you are?" "I accept the challenge. Now someone takes us somewhere," the blonde said and ordered. A few minutes later both Issei and Razor were in a kind of arena where Issei was with his hands in his pockets while Razor was looking at the blue-haired man with anger and superiority. "I am the host of this rating game where the fight for Rias Gremory's hand will take place, where the participants Hyoudo Issei versus Razor Phoenix will fight." Issei, hey, when did I say I would fight for Rias's hand?" Issei thought. "I think a certain Siscon has something to do with this," Shapiro said. Issei, "Sir chest," I thought Issei. At that a noise sounded in the place where the fight had started, in the place where Issei seized directly at Razor. Cap 4. The ratings game had already begun. Issei just looked at Razor, who saw Issei with his superiority and arrogance, while Issei looked at him calmly. Issei, "You know, Razor, it will only take me 10 minutes to defeat you," Issei said calmly. "Razor, puff you, haha, Ami, it will only take me 5 minutes, said Razor while enormous wings of fire were surrounding him. At that Razor throws a huge ball of fire. Issei, who looked at the ball monotonously where he is alone, sighs and takes a small nothing. Issei, full counter, said the brown-haired boy while returning the attack to Razor. Razor is greatly surprised where he is alone. He uses his arms as a shield and receives the attack fully. Bomb! At that, the smoke screen comes out, very angry. Razor, wherever he is, with his fists turned into fire, he threw several punches towards Issei, who simply smiled. Issei dodged a few hits, and then he gave a direct hook towards Razor's stomach, making him spit out some saliva, but Issei gave him a Spartan-style kick right to Razor's chest, making him recoil in pain. Issei mercilessly threw himself at Razor, who failed to react in time to the enormous series of blows Issei was giving him. In the stands, it must be said that all the demons were surprised that a low-class demon, in their opinion, was giving problems to Razor. On the other hand, Rias saw this with hope, while on the other side, Tsubaki had a frown, while with the Maus, Sir Chest and Leviathan, she only had a smile on her face. In the fight, Razor, after retreating so much, got tired and managed to dodge the blow that was going straight towards his face and managed to land a powerful blow to the chest of the brunette, causing him to retreat and spit out some blood. Razor, seeing this opportunity, charged another huge fireball and aimed at Issei. Razor, died damn low class, launched the attack towards Issei. Issei just stood up and put his arms in front of him, where with his bare hands he had caught the fireball. While Issei began to slowly back away, there is no other option. Issei uses the balance break, Shapiro said mentally to the blue-haired man, but Issei bites his lips hard and manages to deflect Razor's attack towards the sky, surprising all the demons. Issei had all his hands completely burned, while he was breathing a little agitated and was spitting blood. But before Issei could do anything, a Razor had appeared right in front of the blue-haired man, where he received a powerful right hook to the face that made Issei fly. Razor, take this Phoenix, said the blonde, launching a powerful magical attack in the form of a bird towards the place where Issei was. Boom! A gigantic explosion occurred throughout the place, creating a small tremor. In the stands, all the demons were talking about how Razor had already won, while a small group of girls looked at the location of the explosion with concern, while Sir Chest just got serious. Sir Chest, looks like he's going to use it, he thought as he looked at the sand. Oh Gregory. Azazel could be seen next to a boy with silver hair. Both were watching television. While at a small round table there was a small group of 4 girls, one of whom you could notice had light blue hair, the other was pure colored, and the last one had blonde hair. They were all watching the fight. Azazel, it seems that he will use it, he said aloud, while the group of women had squeezed the spleen tightly until breaking them. That idiot, said the light-haired girl in an angry voice. In the battle, Razor was looking at all this with utmost arrogance while wiping the dust off his clothes, and some wounds were healing. When you are dipping, turn around and walk. Thump. Suddenly, strong heartbeats began to be heard throughout the place, as well as footsteps approaching. Thump. The heartbeat became more powerful, making a small tremor. Razor Seda turned around and saw how Issei was standing in front of him, while his hair was covering his eyes. Thump. This time Razor instinctive retroceded mint, while around Issei a small blue flame was forming. Issei, you know something, Razor. I'm going to grant you worthy of being a front-row witness to true despair. Issei spoke as he raised his gaze, and his eyes were shining. And now he trembles with fear. Dear Phoenix, balance break. Melts Issei's eyes. A blue fire begins to ignite where it had formed right around the blue-haired man's eyes as a face formed at the same time. Balance break. Chaos corrupt. A thick and powerful voice was what had been heard throughout the place, and then a powerful Mastrosa aura was felt throughout the place. Suddenly the place was gradually becoming clearer, where in the whole place to see the first thing that everyone saw was Issei with a completely black armor with some blue touches, while behind him a gigantic snake was looking at Razor, as if he were just another prey of the bunch. Before Razor could react, Issei had appeared in front of the blonde, surprising him greatly, and then he received a powerful blow to the stomach, causing Razor to spit saliva. But Issei grabbed him by the hair and slammed the demon's face into the ground, where then Issei throws him up where he is. He disappears and appears above him, where he gives a powerful hammer blow to the blonde's back, causing Razor to fall back against the ground, creating a mini crater, while Issei calmly descended while he began to walk towards the blonde who had stood up. Razor, don't you understand that this is important for the demons? He shouted while looking at Issei, who continued walking towards him. This is for the good of the... But Razor couldn't finish speaking since Issei had given a right hook to the blonde's stomach, causing him to spit blood, where Issei quickly grabs his foot and slams him against the ground, repeating the same action over and over again, and then throws upwards. Issei creates a small ball of energy in his hands and then throws it towards Razor, who received the blow full on, and then falls completely wounded against the ground while his body was generating. Issei begins to advance towards Razor little by little. Razor, upon realizing this, begins to tremble with fear. Ryza! Don't do that, damn monster! Razor screamed terrified, throwing several fire attacks at him. Issei, seeing the attacks coming towards him, just used his hands and began to deflect them before then appearing right in front of the blonde, who was just trembling in fear. After that, Issei takes off his helmet, and then shows Razor his deep red eyes in a reticule shape. Issei, you give up, Issei speaking. Razor, without even hesitating this, began to nod his head in confirmation, and then be released by Issei, who deactivates the armor and returns to normal, while some slight burns could be seen. The ratings game has ended. The winner is Hyoudo Issei. The presenter's announcement made Rias begin to cry with happiness, and then the arena disappeared, where Issei quickly took Razor and began to descend towards the ground, and then threw Razor towards the Penhex family. But before anyone could do anything, Rias had hugged the blue-haired man. Rias, thank you Issei, thank you, she said crying. Issei, hey, you're dirtying me with your snot, he said while he pushed her away and cleaned himself. Ito Issei-sama. A feminine voice spoke, taking Issei out of his thoughts, where he saw Ravel behind him. Issei, oh hello Ravel-chan, I said. Issei, Ravel, take a tear of Penhex, he said while giving her a tear of Penhex. Issei, oh thanks Ravel-chan, I didn't know you were worried about me, he said gracefully. Ravel, what do you say? I'm not worried about you. You should feel flattered that I, Ravel Penhex, gave you this gift. Ravel spoke with pride. I forgot I was at Sundara, Shapiro had commented with some grace, while Issei agreed with him. Issei, hee well thanks, Issei thanked and then turned around and looked at Rias. Rias, Issei thank you very much, she said to try to hug him, but Issei stops her. Issei, hey, don't be so corny, damn it, honestly I didn't save you because I wanted you to laugh. Issei spoke, surprising the redhead. Rias, didn't you come for me? She asked with a little pain. Issei, sighing, look Rias, honestly, I don't care if you married that idiot. I did it because Ravel asked me to, not because I wanted to. Do you understand? Between us, there's nothing, it's clear, said Issei, as he began to walk away from the place. Besides, Rias would never go out with someone who doesn't even know how to solve their own problems, not even solving everything yourself. You're a girl who will always receive help from everyone. To be someone, you're just your brother's shadow. Sir Chest. I still don't understand why you have those powers of destruction, Issei spoke bluntly. After saying that, Issei disappeared in a magic circle, leaving the redhead, who didn't know what to say with those words. While far away, Sir Chest could be seen looking at his sister. Residency Hyoudo. In the living room of the Hyoudo house, a magic circle had formed, from which Issei came out, and walked to the sofa and then sat down, and began to massage his head. Issei, oh shit. I forgot to cancel the commitment I had with Rias and ask for my pieces. Issei thought. Are you stupid or what, son? Shapiro mentally said to Issei, who didn't respond. After that, the living room light turns on, where Issei turns around and sees his mother standing in the doorway. Mickey, again son? She said while she had a first aid kit in her hands and sat next to Issei. Show me your chest. Issei just sighs and then takes off his jacket and shirt, revealing his body, but there were some small details all over his abdomen, and some parts of his body had several wounds that you could see were open. His mother takes out a needle and then sterilizes it and begins to stitch the wound. Mickey, tell me something. Issei, why did you go to stop your half-sister's wedding? I asked. Issei, sigh. I see they already told you. He laughed nervously. Mickey, if your sisters leave Ainea and Suzaku called, they said you were fighting a high-class demon. I can, she said. Issei, who knows, maybe out of boredom. I honestly don't know why I did it, Issei replied. At that point, Mickey had finished sewing and then put everything away and looked at her son once more. Mickey sighed. Fine, but promise me you'll be careful, she said while Issei nodded. So before I forget, Ross-chan called me and said, when are you going to visit her? And I remind you that you have to call Tiamat and Penemu, who are very angry with you, and lastly both Suzaku and Levi Nia want to meet with you to talk, said the mother tenderly, while Issei began to tremble slightly. When Issei, well, I didn't know what to answer. I told you that I was going to kill you if you didn't call her. I told you to call her, but you didn't listen to me. Now look at you. You're going to be completely murdered by your sisters, Shapiro said mentally, while Issei just prayed to any god to help him with this issue. In a beautiful forest, there was a female figure with rough gothic girl look floating over a waterfall, while the whole place was in complete silence. At that moment he started to hear footsteps and then saw a female figure with long, somewhat straight black hair, hazel eyes, and a strange tattoo on her arm. Amaterasu, you finally arrived, the girl spoke stoically. Amaterasu, how long has it been, Ophis? It's strange for you to call me. The girl responded to the girl who continued to look at her stoically. Ophis, Amaterasu, tell me, how did you make the serpent, from chaos corruption, be freed from it because Elohim sealed it? She asked while looking at the goddess, who shrugged her shoulders. Amaterasu, honestly, what's wrong with it? Besides, Ophis, it's strange that you care about that, although you would never do anything bad to harm the human who possesses it. I speak calmly. Ophis, humph? Whatever, tell me, Amaterasu, why did you choose a human as your carrier? I asked. Amaterasu sighed. My whim, I suppose, she said. Ophis stared at him for a few moments, and then looked at the mark on his arm where she disappeared from the sight of the goddess to appear on his side and look at the tattoo. Ophis, you were already marked as one of his partners. I never thought you would do it. The girl spoke in a monotone. For Amaterasu's part, she couldn't help but blush as she looked away. Amaterasu, don't blame me, I was in heat too, while her blush began to surround her entire face. Ophis watched all this curiously while tilting her head to one side as she looked at the goddess. Cap 5. 2 days had already passed where Issei was completely beaten by a maniacally mowed Tsubaki Shinra Doden. The brown-haired boy learned a valuable lesson: never in his life bother a girl. While Issei could deal with this problem easily, although unbelievable, the girl had brought out a strength far superior to his, and what Shapiro had said to Issei was, "Sometimes women are a real terror, but the toxic ones, you don't even know what they can do to you." Then the 2 days passed very well, where Issei only kept thinking about when he will have to go visit his sisters Lavinia or Suzaku, although he wanted to avoid his other sister at all costs because she was a complete sadist. Present, Issei could be seen walking through a beautiful city. Wherever he walked, he saw many beautiful women wearing various armor. The blue-haired man had arrived at a completely different house. He only sighed and then knocked on the door of the house, where after a few minutes the door opens where a beautiful woman with a great body of heart attack comes out. She had long white hair and also appeared to be less than 35 years old. The woman, seeing the blue-haired man, gave a slight smile. "Oh, at last you have a slippery snake around here," the woman said. Issei for his part was trembling slightly from the gaze of the woman in front of him. Issei, yes, I am glad to see her again. Gondel-san, Issei replied. The now known as Gondel only laughed softly at the blue-haired boy's nervousness. Gondel, well, it's good to see you, Rosweiss. I was worried about you. If you want, come in, she's upstairs changing, she said. Issei just nods as he enters the house and sees inside the house full of paintings and everything decorated. Issei walks to the dining room where he sits on some sofas, where then Gondel brings Issei a cup of tea where the chestnut takes it. Gondel, and how are your studies with the magic runes going? Gondel asked. Issei, I'm doing well. So far it's been very difficult for me with some words, but I was able to fix it thanks to Shapiro's help, Issei said. Gondel nodded as he took another sip of tea. Gondel, okay, and now the other question. When will Rosweiss and you give me great-grandchildren? Gondel said. Issei for his part had choked with the sip of tea while Gondel looked at Issei. Gondel, did you think I wouldn't notice that they hadn't done it yet? She said. Sighed Noobs. Do you think I wouldn't notice how she never seemed to lose that smile, and also had a little more confidence in herself? She asked. Issei, oh shit. He thought, well, it's just that this just happened and well, Issei didn't know how to respond. Gondel Albert Issei's nerves just a slight amused smile at how Issei looked, but before she said a word someone had spoken. Grandma! Where are you? A female voice had shouted while she was going down the stairs. Gondel, I'm in the dining room, Rosweiss, she said. Rosweiss. Grandma knows. Rosweiss couldn't finish speaking as she saw Issei sitting on a sofa. Issei, upon hearing Rosweiss's voice, turned around wherever he was and became completely stunned. Rosweiss wears a short-sleeved striped shirt, leaving her navel exposed, as well as shorts along with long black stockings and red sneakers. Rosweiss looks at Issei quickly, and she has blushed from embarrassment. While Issei does not take his eyes off her. Gondel, cough, I see you're ready, dear. I speak Gondel. Issei, Ross-chan, you look beautiful. said Issei. Ross, blushing, thank you, you look very good, she replied. Issei just approaches her, and then plants a kiss on Rosswei's lips, who quickly returns the kiss where Issei puts one of his hands on her waist, and then places the other on her head. After a few minutes they both separate where Ross blushing just places her face on the blue-haired man's chest who just laughs. Gondel. Well, couple of lovebirds, I think you can go to Rossweiss if you come back. I hope she gets pregnant. I want to meet my grandchildren, she said. The couple just blushed, and then both left there leaving Gondel alone, who sighed and then put on a happy smile. Gondel. Ah, young people, she said. Hyoudo residence. Mickey was in the living room having a cup of tea with Rainier where they were both watching series. Ring. The doorbell had rung where both girls look at each other where Rainier stands up and goes to open the door. Rainier. Hello. Rainier couldn't finish speaking because she started to sweat cold. Rainier? What are you doing here? I asked. Rainier. Levinia, what are you doing here? She said a little calmer. In front of Rainier there was a beautiful woman with blonde hair and light blue eyes. Lavinia, ah, that's good. I came to visit my brother Issei. Besides, are you and Issei dating? She asked. Rainier blushed in embarrassment and looked away. Rainier. And no, we are nothing. Let's just say that certain things happened and well on like this, she replied. Lavinia just looked at her for a few moments where the blonde just sighed. Lavinia. Fine, I believe you, Rainier-chan, but if you dare to hurt the heart of my dear Oni-chan, I swear I'm going to send you to literal hell, she had threatened while releasing a little of her power. Rainier just nodded with some fear as she let Lavinia pass, who entered the house. Lavinia, Oka-san, she had called. Mickey. Oh hi Lavinia-chan, said the blue-haired girl as she approaches the blonde. She pays, then they both hug each other. After that, the three women sat down to begin discussing among themselves. In the abandoned church, two figures could be seen wearing white robes and having hoods covering their faces, while one seemed to have some kind of sword on his back. Are you sure it's here? Asked one of the hooded women. Yes, this is Zenobia. And besides, an old friend of mine also lives near here, he said while taking off the hood of his head, revealing a girl with brown hair, her hair tied with two ponytails on one side. Zenobia, sigh. Well, if you say so, Irana, it would be better to look for another place to stay tonight, she said while she also took off her hood, revealing a girl with blue hair with a short green lock and hazel eyes. Irina just looks at the blue-haired girl where they both nod, and then they start walking. Irina, I hope to see you soon, Issei-kun, she said while looking at the stars for a while. Cap 6. In Germany it was a beautiful date between Issei and Ross, who had gone to the movies, then to a restaurant, and finally both were walking through a park in Germany where later both couples sit on a bench together while Ross Weiss rests her head on the shoulder of the blue-haired man where he is alone. He takes the hands of the silver-haired man, and both just look in front of him. Ross Weiss. Issei-kun. Ross Weiss called the blue-haired man's and Tenchio spoke. Issei. Humph, what's wrong, Ross-chan? Said Issei looking at Ross. Ross Weiss. Tell me, when are you going to talk to them? Asked Ross Weiss while Issei just started to turn pale. Sighed. Is what she does to you wrong? Asked Ross. Issei. You have no idea what Leviana and Suzaku are capable of doing if they get angry, said Issei trembling. Ross Weiss just smiles, amused by how her boyfriend is. She then just hugs the blue-haired man where they both enjoy their evening together. After several hours, Issei had offered to take Ross Weiss to his home, who accepted without complaint. After that, the blue-haired man reappeared in the city of Kuoh. Already in the city of Kuoh, Issei, he just snorts and continues walking around the place where he is. He stops dead in his tracks when he sees a certain blonde-haired boy walking through the dark streets of Kuoh. Issei, humph? How strange, Issei thought as he shrugged and resumed his walk. Don't you think you'll see what's happening? Shapiro had asked while Issei just put his hands in his pockets and continued walking calmly. Issei. Nah, besides, it's not my problem with what others do, said Issei calmly. When he had arrived home, a huge chill had run down his back, where Issei quickly runs towards his house and quickly enters. Issei, Oka-san! Issei shouted desperately to go to the dining room where he saw two people sitting. Mickey, Issei? She said. What's wrong, are you okay? She asked while Issei just took a breath of calm, then nodded. Issei, yes, I'm fine, Oka-san, he answered. Oka-san, who are they? Issei asked, looking at the two mysterious ones, but before she answered, Issei-kun? Said one of the hooded figures to stand up and take off her hood, showing a feminine face, with long light brown hair and violet eyes. How long, Issei-kun, she said happily. Issei, hey? Do I know you? Issei asks while scratching his head. Mickey, Issei, she is Irina, your old childhood friend, she had said. Issei looks at her for a few moments to look at her well, then speaks. Issei, oh Irina, I know your breasts grew, Issei said while looking at the brunette's breasts, who blushes and looks away. Irina, he, well, years have passed, she had said, and then shook her head and looked at Issei Ito. Issei-kun, can we talk about something in private? She asked. Issei looks at his mother, who nods and stands up to then say goodbye to both women, where the brunette sits in front of both of them. Issei, I see that you fulfilled your dream of being a member of the church, he said with some amusement. Irina, yes, she answered, I'm glad you're okay. Issei-kun, said Irina while taking a breath. Well, the reason I wanted to talk to you is that some kind of problem came up, she said seriously. Issei, what's the problem, Irina? Issei replied as he settled in. An attack arose in the Vatican Church, where some fallen angels stole the Excalibur, the other one spoke in a hood. Issei nods. Issei, I see, said Issei, but what does this have to do with me? He asked. Irina, you see, we know very well that you are a human-demon hybrid, Irina had said. Issei, and what does this have to do with me, if I may ask? Issei asks with some curiosity. Irina, you see, I want you to help us with this problem. What we know is that the angel who stole her is Kokobile, a Gregory cadre, she had said. How strange it seems that Azazel's crow hasn't noticed, or what? Issei, I have no idea, but I don't think Azazel is as stupid as we think, Issei responded, and what would I gain by helping them? Issei asks. Irina was going to speak, but Irina's partner quickly spoke up. An old woman I knew said this, she had said, you better help or else I'm going to look for you. I promise I'll make you suffer the same hell, she had said. Issei just starts shaking like something really bad is going to happen. Issei, okay, I'll help you, said Issei, wanting to avoid someone possibly killing him. Irina, great, thanks Issei-kun, she had said. After that Irina had begun to explain the whole plan, and then she withdrew, leaving only Issei in the room, who brought his hands to his forehead. But a voice had caught Issei's attention. Hello, Issei-chan, a tender voice had spoken in the place, making Issei begin to tremble with fear while he turned around, and there he sees her. Issei, gulp, Livinia. Hello here, said Issei nervously. Right in front of him was a beautiful girl with blonde hair and light blue eyes who was looking at Issei tenderly. I'm dead, Issei thought. You think? He sighed and commented with some grace. Livinia began to approach Issei in a calm manner. With each step Issei had sworn that he saw death itself in person, and that Livinia stops a few centimeters right in front of Issei, where she just cracks her knuckles and Issei swallows hard. Livinia, my dear, please explain everything to me now. Lavinia's voice had changed drastically. Issei, well, Issei didn't know what to say, sighed. Kill me now, he said resignedly. Livinia, with pleasure, she had said without losing her tender smile. Time skip. After the brutal beating by Livinia towards Issei, he had to explain everything, why he made it clear that this bothered Livinia a little, but then he let it go. Now they were sitting in the living room while Livinia and Issei's mother were talking animatedly, while Ryanair was cleaning Issei's wounds. Issei, damn, I swear when I see him warm, I'll kill him, Issei thought. Livinia, so Issei-chan, what are you doing with the exorcists? She asks. Issei, I sincerely have to help them. Besides, it is a favor to an old friend of mine, Issei had said. Livinia, are you talking about Griselda? She had said, and Issei nods. Damn, Issei, you definitely know a lot of interesting people from the three great factions, she said something funny. Issei only cursed himself for his luck with women. Although he didn't complain, he had certain traumas with some of them. Issei, even I am surprised by my luck, he said sarcastically. Time skip. Another day had already started, where Issei was walking towards the Kuoh Academy, where he simply gave a slight snort to already reach the door, and there sees Sona Citri with his Hexi Reina Tsubaki Shinra. Issei, why do I feel like I'm in trouble? He thought. Sona, hello Hyoudo-kun, you're finally here, she said while adjusting her glasses. Issei, Ola Kaicho Issei Daijo. Sona, sighed Hyoudo-kun, look, we want to ask you to go to the occult club today, for a meeting with some members of the church, she had said. Issei, eh? Came out of Issei's lips. Cap 7. Issei was totally silent, because it is easy. Until now the meeting that had been formed with both exorcists along with the high-class demons had been taken very well, or so Issei believes. Since half an hour ago Zenobia was still looking at Issei, but the blue-haired man was alone in his own world, thinking what to do now. The look that Tsubaki was giving him was making him uncomfortable and much. Damn, this is very uncomfortable, Issei thought to himself. Without a doubt your dear girlfriend is very jealous of you, although I think she can't compare to Tiamat and Penemu, Shapiro had commented, and without a doubt Issei couldn't agree more with what his friend said. Giving a sigh, he just continued watching with whatever his silk is in this meeting. After a while, Zenobia had insulted the nun where she called her a rege and several other things. Issei did not care much, but when Zenobia was going to attack, Kiba had attacked the blue-haired girl where both clashed their swords, and then they all discussed where a battle was going to form. Issei gave her the same treatment. Time skip. Issei was now in the schoolyard watching the battle that was about to begin. This is going to end very badly, thought the blue-haired man. Sighing, hey Shapiro, what do we do? Asked Issei. If I were you, I'd let the blonde blow off some steam, Shapiro commented without giving it much importance. Issei just turns around and starts walking away from everyone. Hey Hyoudo-kun, where are you going? Sona said, looking at Issei. I'm leaving here, Sona-senpai. This problem isn't mine, I answered reluctantly. Well, see you, Issei said, leaving. Now we can see the blue-haired man walking across the city bridge, where he sits on the ground where he takes out a cigarette and starts smoking it. Ah, what a boring day, Issei commented while he was quietly smoking. Everything was calm for Issei, who wasn't paying attention to the people who were passing by him, and others were looking at Issei in a bad way. Although this mattered less to him, then his cell phone rings where Issei takes it and looks at the message. How long, Issei? Issei. And you are? I'm your old friend Annie. I want to talk to you about something. Can you come to my house? Issei. Sure, I'll go right away. Issei put away his cell phone to stand up and begin to walk away from that place. Walking through the city, Issei had arrived at an apartment where he entered inside to go up in the elevator, where Issei then exited the elevator and start walking through the halls, and then stop in a room. Knocking on the door, a voice is heard from the other side, where Issei will open the door and enter. Excuse me, Issei warned. Hey Annie, where are you? Issei asked. In the dining room, Issei-kun, said a female voice. Issei walked down the hallway of the house and then arrived right in the living room where he saw a beautiful girl with blonde hair and gray eyes. Hello Issei-kun, said the girl while hugging Issei, who returned the hug. Hi Annie, said Issei as he separated from the hug. How have you been? Asked the blue-haired man as he sat on a sofa. Hey, I've been fine, and you? She asked. I've been fine, thanks for asking, Issei responded with a smile. And Annie, tell me why you called me? Issei asked. Okay, you'll see something good happen, she said excitedly as she sat on the couch. Do you promise you won't say anything? She asked as Issei takes out another cigarette and places it in his mouth. I promise you, he said while looking for a lighter, and Annie passes it to him. Sayusi Issei-kun as I am. She didn't know what to say while Issei looked at her. I'm pregnant, she shouted excitedly while the cigarette that Issei had in his mouth had fallen out of his mouth. Annie looks at Issei, then picks up the cigarette and places it in her mouth and begins to light it while Issei still hasn't recovered from the shock of what he just heard. Issei-kun? Asked Annie looking at the blue-haired boy. Issei came out of his trance again, where he chokes on the smoke, and after coughing for a while he looks back at Annie where they both stare at each other, where Annie had started to get nervous until Issei smiles and hugs her. I'm happy, Annie, shouted Issei excitedly. Ichiwai. I shouted in disbelief. Then Issei separated from the hug. Tell me something, Annie. Did you tell Vala that you're pregnant? Issei asked seriously. Actually, not yet, she said nervously. I don't know how he's going to understand that he's going to be a father. Annie said it would be. Issei, for his part, brought his hands to his chin, then sighed. Listen, Annie, whatever, I'm sure Vala will be happy, he said with a smile, because if not, I swear I'm going to look for him and break all his bones, he thought darkly. As the hours passed, both were talking. Then he said goodbye to Annie, where he said that he would take her for a bike ride later. It was already night in the city of Kuoh, where Issei was walking through the city where a barrier had been placed in the place. Came out of Issei's lips. Issei behind. At that, Issei had reacted quickly, where he dodges several spears of light where the blue-haired man will quickly follow, and there he sees a group of people with fallen angel wings. TSK fallen weight, Issei thought. There is a demon among them, Issei thought to himself. Why? Because the demons and the fallen were together. There wasn't an alliance or anything like that yet. Although Issei knew something, that what happens now will not be pretty at all. Putting his guard up, Issei looks around him and realizes that he was being surrounded by 5 people. 2 of them were demons. PLAF. A round of applause had sounded in the place. "You are certainly amazing, boy," a male voice said coming out of the shadows. A man with silver hair was wearing a beard against Ryusoulger. Issei thought seriously, keeping his guard up. Chapter 8. Everything was in neat silence. The blue-haired man was surrounded by several fallen angels and demons, although he could easily take care of that. The real problem was right in front of him, and it was none other than Ryusoulger Levan, Lucifer, son of the original Lucifer, who was there. Issei, what is this guy doing here, and why right near Annie's house? Issei thought. The blue-haired man didn't make any movement as he crossed, even though he remained on guard. Ryusoulger, I see you're nervous, boy. Can I know the reason? He asked jokingly, looking at Issei. Issei, I see you noticed, huh? What does Lucifer want with someone like me? The blue-haired man spoke seriously. Ryusoulger, oh well, if we put it like that, a smile appeared on his lips. It would be better to explain everything to you. Another day had begun at the Kuoh Academy, where the blue-haired boy was in the occult club, at the request of Sona and Tsubaki, who had informed the blue-haired boy of everything that had happened until now. They managed to find Irina in very bad condition too. They lost Kiba in the fight and faced the Kokabil cadre, where he will attack tonight. In the academy, Issei only listened to the whole explanation. Issei, sigh, and I think you want me to help you, right? Said the blue-haired man, looking at everyone in the room. Rias, that's right, Hyoudo-kun, since we also need your help, mentioned Rias. Issei brought his hands to his chin and began to think about everything. While it is true that it may or may not help, there was also a certain disadvantage, and that was that if Kappas did not help as much as Rias and Sona died, a new war would break out where the human world would be in the middle of the war. Right now the blue-haired man wanted this not to happen, but there was no other choice. You better decide quickly. Besides, your power as it is now is not enough. Sephiroth internally committed suicide to her wearer, who only gave a sigh. Issei, you're right. It would be better to help them now. Issei replied to his tenant. Okay, I'll help you girls, Issei commented. In that, throughout the entire course, they had planned everything, where the blue-haired man would fight against Kokabil directly and the current carrier of Drag Murayama would help the others. It was already night in the city of Kuoh, and specifically in the Kuoh Academy. The demons of the Citri clan set up the barrier, where Issei and the Gremory entourage entered. Della barrier walking through the academy. Kuoh. Issei was totally silent. Oh, I see that they have arrived, and well, Rias, Gremory, who will come? Will it be the Mao Lucifer or will it be the Mao Leviathan? A voice said. At that, everyone raised their eyes to the sky, and there they saw a completely pale man with pointy ears, red eyes, and a horrible smile on his face. Issei. That guy is horrible! The blue-haired man shouted internally. This time I agree with you. What the hell was Elohim thinking leaving this cockroach alive? Clearly they both agreed on one thing, and that was that Kokabil really was horrible. Rias stood in front of the entire group and began to speak while Kokabil was simply observing. Issei, this already looks like an anime I saw, but where? He brought his hands to his chin, remembering a certain anime. Meh, it doesn't matter. While both were talking, Kokabil reported that he wanted to make a new war where the fallen angels would win this time. Issei, is this really too cliché when the villain tells his plan and then ends up getting raped? Issei thought. Kokabil. So, who's coming? Kokabil couldn't continue speaking as he was sent flying. Everyone quickly looked at Issei, who had his demon wings spread out and his fist extended in the air, causing a drop of sweat to appear behind everyone. Issei simply lowered his fists and looked at the place where he sent Kokabil, and it was none other than the Kuoh Academy gym. Issei, oh shit, Sona is going to kill me. Issei thought in panic. Are you serious? Sephiroth commented internally as she watched her wearer tremble in fear. Princess. And with that last comment he managed to get a throbbing vein out on the blue-haired man's forehead, who was going to respond, but right at that moment Kokabil comes out. Kokabil. Who was the damn one who dared to hit me? Kokabil shouted angrily. Issei simply sighed. This guy was going to give him a lot of trouble right now. Issei, cough, was that me? Any problem? Said the blue-haired man seriously. Kokabil set his sights right where Issei was. Kokabil. Wow. I never thought that you would be in this place. Demon aberration. Although I admit that blow did hurt a little. With a smile, haha. Without a doubt the rumors about you are true. The bearer of chaos corruption is certainly not someone to speak ill of. Issei. Or stop it, You make me blush, Issei said mockingly. This certainly made everyone in the place drop their jaws, while outside the barrier there was some armor flying who watched all this with his arms crossed. We really lost to this guy, the wings said. The man in armor did not respond, he just stood there watching. Back with Issei. Kokubil simply watched as Issei was mocking him. Without a doubt he didn't know what to think, if he was an idiot or a suicidal compliment to come and stand up to him. Kokubil, Issei, come on, do you really think I would use a single attack to defeat you? Besides, I highly doubt you'll be able to hurt me. But you know something? Suddenly the whole place began to shake. This undoubtedly earned a challenging look from Kokubil. I'll show you true terror. And at that precise moment Issei lunged at Kokubil as if he were a shotgun bullet. Issei gave a powerful blow to Kokubil's stomach, burying his fist in Kokubil's stomach, opening his eyes in surprise and spitting blood from his mouth. Kokubil was slightly surprised by Issei's movement. Although without a doubt, I can barely see how the blow was filled with this achievement. Take a few steps forward to prevent the blow from doing more damage. The blue-haired man quickly grabbed Kokubil's face and threw him to the ground, pinning him to the ground. As a huge curtain of smoke was generated throughout the place, no one could move or even believe what was happening. Akeno, era, how incredible, she said with her typical smile, while a blush covered her face while her legs trembled slightly. Nobody noticed how a kind of liquid was under the jet, while the others did not move. Even Fred and Father Gailey were the same, or on the other side Zenobia and Kiba had appeared, who were watching everything without moving. While the blue-haired man grabbed him by the neck, he lifted Kokubil into the air, where he simply looked at him. Issei, you're weak, Kokubil. You lack hatred. And with that said, Issei gets a strong right hook to the face, sending him crashing against the ground. I finally got to say it, Issei thought. Cap 9. Issei looked directly at where Kokubil was coming out of the rubble, totally annoyed looking at the blue-haired man. Issei, I think he got angry, he said looking at him. No, do you think so? I think he's just sleepy. That's why he's angry, Shapiro spoke sarcastically. When Issei was about to respond, Kokubil attacked Issei at enormous speed, who managed to react just in time, crossing his arms and retreating several meters back. Issei, that hurt, he complained after receiving the blow from his cadre. Well, it's my turn, Gabriel said Issei without even realizing that he said his name wrong, making his cadre frown. Kokubil, it's Kokubil. Damn idiot. Already annoyed, he lashed out at Issei. For Issei's part, he was not far behind and both began to fight hand to hand, exchanging blows between them, blows to the ribs, body and face. Both of them never stopped. Issei/Kokubil. No. Both of them started screaming while neither stopped hitting each other. Issei would throw a kick, being blocked by Kokubil, and then giving him a strong blow to the stomach, making Issei step back. Kokubil launched himself at Issei again, who upon seeing him placed his arms crossed, and began to receive a large number of blows. Issei began to retreat little by little. Issei, damn it, Shapiro, do you have an idea? He asked while receiving blows from a furious Kokubil. Use his head. Issei, good idea. Kokubil was about to hit Issei. He was surprised when Issei deflected his arms, and right at that moment, Issei threw a powerful and strong headbutt at Kokubil. Crack! It was what everyone heard while Kokubil took a few steps back, just like Issei. Issei, damn my head. Shapiro, your idea was stupid. Invincible, I told you to use your head. It was to make you think of a stupid idea, Shapiro shouted at his wielder. On the one hand, Issei simply recovered and then saw that Kokubil was also recovered, with blood coming out of his forehead just like him. Issei, I know, I have another idea. Shapiro simply remained silent. Kokubil. Well, brat, suddenly the whole place began to shake while Kokubil was covered by a complete yellow aura. Issei. Or by great red, he's going to become a Super Saiyan, he thought with great excitement. Idiot. Kokubil. It's time to end this, brat. Insolent, I admit it was fun fighting you, but… Issei, really? Kokubil would see it curiously, because all the villains, they always talk when they are about to defeat the hero, telling all their plans, and then out of nowhere, another hero appears making an epic entrance, and defeats him with 3 hits, Issei would say while touching his shoulder. Kokubil, you know, I was going to kill in the least painful way, but I got tired. I would take flight into the sky and create a large spear of light, and then The barrier that was covering the barrier was destroyed, where out of nowhere a white armor with colored wings appeared, making a grand entrance. Issei. Which is it? Gabriel. Hyoudo, what the hell are you doing here? Did the power of red attract you here? Gabriel, you have already caused several problems and Azazel sent me to look for you. Gabriel would throw his gigantic spear towards the armored man, but from his wings, divide, were heard several times and the spear disappeared, and in an explosion of speed the white armor attacked Gabriel, and then would crash him into the ground and tear off his wings. Without wasting time, the white armor knocked out the cadre and then both his wings and the gauntlet of the pawn of Rias. Time and then disappear from the place, while Issei simply gave a great sigh. Issei, damn, that one idiot will pay me later, he muttered to himself, while the Gremory group was talking to the Citri entourage. With nothing else to do, he was about to leave. But then all the girls came over and looked at him, and he took a step forward. Sona, thank you very much for your help, Hyoudo-kun, she would say with a small smile. Issei would look at Rias, who also nodded, and then he just sighed and tilted his head to the side, putting on a smile with his fangs. Issei. Haha, no problem, besides I had fun. A lot. He would start walking past all the girls. Sayonara, with his hand extended above he said goodbye. Right now Issei was walking through the dark night of Kuoh City, where he took out a cigarette to light it and start smoking it. While walking he stops near an alley and then goes into it, to lean against the wall and take out a can and then simply look at the sky. Issei, damn, my head hurts a lot, touching his forehead. Shapiro, tell me, you knew something was there, right? Yes, I knew it, was his short answer, making Issei give a dry smile as he took a sip of his drink. Issei, I see on now I can't move my body, damn. You'd better make a magic circle and let's go. Issei, okay, I'll see if I can move my hands a little. Trying to move his hands, which kept shaking, his eyes shone crimson, and then a magic circle appeared right in front of him from where a person with crimson hair came out. Issei, Slightly, he was surprised to see a certain person in front of him, who, unable to react, fainted and hit the ground hard. You can get out of there now, Sir Chest. From the shadow came a man about 20 to 25 years old with the same crimson hair. Sir Chest, what do you want with the now father? At the front of him was none other than Zen-Aku Gremory, father of Rias Gremory and Sir Chest Gremory, as well as father of Issei Hyoudo Gremory. Zen-Aku, couldn't you see my other son? His answer was short and simple. Sir Chest, I'm not stupid, you know. You didn't even care when he was born, you abandoned him when he was just a baby with his mother, and when he appeared to cancel Rias's engagement, and you saw the great power he has plus the Longinus. That's where your interest in him came from. Sir Chest's eyes shone crimson. Speak, he ordered. For his part, Zen-Aku would sigh and look at Sir Chest. Zen-Aku, I'm just trying to help him. What Zen-Aku said made Sir Chest look at him curiously. Sir Chest, explicate? Zen-Aku, I'm going to help him, to release the power that is sealed by me. Sir Chest opened his eyes in surprise. That's right, Sir Chest. There are several reasons why I was never with Issei-kun since his birth, and it was because I wanted to protect him from the old people and from Venelana. Sir Chest, what? From mother, because, Zen-Aku, Sir Chest, there is an easy reason why Venelana found out he had a son with another woman, especially knowing the Longinus she has in her power. What do you think would have happened to her? He asked. Sir Chest started thinking about all the possibilities, until he made a clip. Sir Chest, perhaps she, Zen-Aku. Yes, he nodded. She had come into the world personally, and erased his mother's memory and took the little one, to raise him with us and make the Gremory clan more famous. Your mother is a genius for a reason, son. She is intelligent, and above all, if she has the opportunity she would take advantage of it at all costs. A great deep silence took over the place, and Zen-Aku would put his hand on Issei's chest and a glow completely covered the blue hair. Zen-Aku, ready, now it's done. He can use the true power of the Gremory, as well as the power of the snake. He would turn his gaze back to Sir Chest. I know you haven't, I've been a good father, but this is the best for him, plus I have someone who has been watching him since he was born. Sir Chest, who? Zen-Aku, Roygun Belphegor. Captain. Right now, Issei was extremely nervous about seeing the only person who had cared for him since he was a child. Like his mother, she was currently the nurse at the Kuoh Academy. And she saw Issei with a very beautiful smile, as if it promised pain more than anything. Well, Issei-kun? The woman would ask, looking at him calmly. I was starting to sweat a lot. This woman was completely hard on him when he was a child. Although she was still advancing in age, she had a great body and looked more like a woman in her 20s. But in reality, she was older. I'm still waiting for the answer. Issei, she repeated again. You were spelling letter by letter the name of the chestnut tree. Admit it, you're dead. You're not helping at all, Shapiro. I scream internally at how his partner let him die at the hands of this woman. Roiganoka-san, I'm sorry. Bowing his head down. With a simple sorry, you're not going to fix anything, Issei-kun. A strange aura completely surrounded her, causing Issei's body to tremble. However, Roigun stood up and approached Issei. Slightly closing his eyes, he awaited his punishment. He opened his eyes in surprise as he felt something soft. When he looked up, he met Roigun's hairy eyes, who was giving him a beautiful smile. Now calm down, they won't hurt you, idiot kid. Of whoever saved me, thought Issei. I thought you would be angry. I am actually angry, but I'm also glad to know that you remembered to come see your mother. However, Issei was suddenly lying on the infirmary bed and Roigun would start crawling and sitting on the blue-haired man's waist. Tell me, Issei-kun, do you like what you're seeing? It wasn't the first time his mother played these kinds of games with him since he turned 15 years old. Issei had to deal with his mother's constant insinuations. However, he didn't deny that Roigun wasn't beautiful. No, she was completely hexy, making any porn actress look totally ridiculous, for sure. Issei. She hugged him and started rubbing her breasts with the blue-haired man's arm. It was the only scream heard throughout the entire Kuoh Academy. It was already the end of classes, and right now Hyoudo Issei was in the occult club on behalf of Rias, who was sitting in the chair. I'm here, Rias. Why did you call me? Issei, it's good that you arrived. Rias said. I want to introduce you to my new member of my nobility. Saying that, Issei turned around. When the door opened, Issei recognized the person who entered. Zenobia? Didn't you and Irina go to Italy to return the fragments of the Excalibur? In fact, after learning about God's death, Zenobia said as a slight headache appeared, and knowing this secret, the church would surely have killed me to keep the secret under control. A good one is understandable, I think. Also, said Zenobia. It was also because I have a new goal and a wish that I want to fulfill. Which would that be? I want to have children. Issei didn't say anything. He was a little impressed. Issei, being called by Rias. Issei now looked at Rias, who was being accompanied by Akeno, who gave him a smile that sent a strong electric current down his spine. Is something wrong, Rias? In fact, we wanted to talk about something very important with you. Sitting in the chair that was in front of Rias's desk, the blue-haired man looked at her. What is this topic that is so important? Oni-sama informed me that within 2 days after the parents' meeting, there will be a faction meeting to talk about the Kokobile incident. Oh wow, that is a pretty big surprise. Issei said. But what do I have to do with this? Oni-sama wants you to attend. In fact, not only will we attend the meeting, but we'll also be reporting on what happened during Kokobile's attack. So they want me like a bodyguard, right? Rias shook her head and looked at her stepbrother with a serious expression. In fact, it's not just that, but also Oni-sama wants you to be someone important to the factions. They want me to be the pillar to maintain the factions. That's the point, Issei. Why me? I say, isn't there anyone better than your pawn, the Security? Pointing at Aika, who simply shrugged, Rias let out a sigh and looked straight at Issei. In fact, not only will you be the pillar, there is also Aika who can be the pillar. I still don't understand something, you Rias. I don't belong to any biblical faction. In fact, if I told you I belong to a faction, it would be the Shinto pantheon. This brought curiosity from all the demons who looked at Issei waiting for an answer. Seeing that they didn't take their eyes off him, Issei let out a sigh. I see, how come you belong to the Shinto pantheon? Back in my time when I was younger and training, I had about 3 masters. Son Goku, and also the immortal witch Scat-Hack, as well as Lady Amaterasu. Everyone's eyes widened in surprise. I think I said something out of place. Issei, how did you meet Scat-Hack? The Celts were supposedly isolated from all deities. That's the problem, Rias. Issei said. It's true that the Celtic gods are isolated from the other gods, but Scat-Hack is the queen of the lands of shadows. But I only met her thanks to Son Goku. Issei said. The damn old man left me in that place with Scat-Hack. Her body quickly trembled with fear as she remembered everything what had happened in the Shadowlands. Issei, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. You're just remembering something from the past. Saying that, Issei took back his stance, forgetting his hard hell with the immortal witch Scat-Hack. Well, leaving that aside, I left Rias. I have things to do. Standing up, Issei walked towards the door and looked at the nobility of Rias. See you later. So tell me why you called me? How rude you are, you don't even call me and you're doing this. The teenager let out a sigh and looked directly at the girl. Shot, pouting. The sun goddess sighed and looked directly at the blue-haired man. Issei-kun, I want you to do something for me on the day of the faction meeting. I want you to be our representative at that faction meeting so we can not only control the factions, but we can also be the hosts of this territory. We have to control any supernatural beings from our territory, Issei. I think it's understandable. Stay calm, Issei. One more thing. Amaterasu said. What would that be? I've been having reports from our spies about the Chaos Brigade. Issei's eyes turned to the Shinto sun goddess, who looked at the brunette. What do you know so far, Amaterasu? In fact, many of the supernatural beings found there are mostly demons, fallen angels, and various yokai. Mages and humans with sacred gears. Humans, even magicians from the Golden Dawn Association, are also involved with them. That was the weird thing. Merlin's council apparently isn't aware of this yet, and the magic school itself doesn't know this either. There are more traitors than I thought. There are many who don't like the world as it is now. It's no wonder humans will even form an alliance with the very beings they hate. Human nature was a complete danger to the human world. For quite a few years humans have been the dominant species. However, at the time when the gods still lived with humans, they had humans under their control where thanks to the gods humans learned the art of construction. Many Babylonian deities, myths and religious writings are unique to this culture. For example, the Babylonian god Marduk, patron of the city, replaced Enlil as the supreme god of the mythological pantheon. The Enuma Elish, an epic about the creation myth, was an original Babylonian work. It was also the appearance of the first king Gilgamesh, who was the first demigod among humans. Following the appearance of the first demigod in human history, also known as the first hero in history, several gods also began having their own descendants with human women. See Chulin, Heracles, Jesus, Perseus, etc. But there came a time when the gods decided to leave humans to live on their own, giving free rein to the gods, which caused the human race to be close to extinction more than once. The time came when humanity began to become more bloodthirsty. Within the great Norse mythology, the Vikings were a great army whose greatest honor was to die in battle. In the Aztecs, the gods offered sacrifices to humans, the best known being the Vikings, with a reputation, and not a good one. It was the great Greek mythology. Gods who were brutally egocentric, arrogant, and above all capricious and murderous. Within that great mythology, there are stories of the first incestuous man in all of history, Zeus, who was also a womanizer. He had no problem cheating on his wife with several women and even men, which led to the birth of several demigods throughout the world. Or the case of Tamamonome. She fled from the inner sanctum of the imperial court. Dogs were sent after her, and it was the first time in Japan that a fox had been hunted by hounds. She ran away and cried in the fields of Nasu because she was pursued by those who claimed to love her. The foxes gathered around her, saying things like, "You've come a long way," and "What a tough journey you had." She wished the foxes would understand her feelings and hoped they would encourage her. It was then that she realized who she truly was when the fox comforted her, saying, "Ah, what a fool I was." She was betrayed and hunted by the humans who feared her. She did nothing wrong, she only tried to help them prosper. She was forced to flee the village simply because she wasn't human. Her infamy grew on the Nasu plains after she fled the court, where she encountered an army of 80,000 men sent at the behest of the retired emperor to kill her. The soldier came shouting, "Kill the fox demon!" and she tried to apologize, but no one listened. She fought back, shouting, "All right, let's do this!" and killed everyone. After this, Tamamonome disappeared from the court. During the second encounter with those pursuing her, she regretted her actions and tried to reason with them. Arrows rained down for 3 straight days and no nights, and nothing seemed to click. Standing in a hail of blood-covered arrows, she cried out, "I wasn't trying to fool anyone. I'll leave now, so please forget about me." The assault continued, from the hate-filled humans, and she realized that humans were fragile and their lives were precious. They were narrow-minded, full of hatred and self-righteousness. She was wrong from the start, as were humans and religion. Her perspective influenced her belief. Although she was a goddess, she was a fool and didn't realize her error until her final moments. No matter how much humans respect God and, through the priesthood, try to understand and be one with them, their efforts are wasted. There is no way for a human to become a god. Tamano no Mae died screaming when shot by an enchanted arrow. She was hunted and killed as an enemy of humanity. She doesn't want revenge because there are things even a goddess cannot do. She was killed trying to defend herself against an army of 80,000 soldiers sent by the Emperor. It was an experience that Amaterasu herself suffered, a trauma that stopped her from coming to the human world. I want you to do me a favor, Issei. Turning around, Issei looked at Amaterasu. If an attack occurs at the faction meeting, I want you to bring me one of the sorcerers alive if possible. Closing his eyes slightly, Issei looked at the kitsune and nodded. I understand, Amaterasu. Thank you, Issei.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.